Ever feel like your parents can switch from being totally hands-off one minute to intensely overprotective the next? If that sounds familiar, then this is for you. We're going to decode a whole generational parenting style that might just explain everything. This quote right here, it's the key. It totally captures that whiplash feeling, right? From you can handle it to absolutely nobody messes with my kid. It feels so confusing. But what if it's not just a mood swing? What if it's a learned response to a past that you never even saw? Yeah, if that sudden, intense intervention hits a little too close to home, trust me, you are not alone. Let's break down what's really going on. Turns out there's a name for this whole dynamic, one that I think perfectly captures that feeling of being watched over by a protector you don't always see. It's called stealth fighter parenting. So here's how it works. Most of the time, they give you the space and autonomy to navigate your own world. But then, the second they sense a real threat, when the stakes get high, they launch that scorched earth intervention. See, it's not random. It's a reaction. But a reaction to what? Well, this is the origin story. Your Gen X parents, they were the original latchkey kids. They came home to empty houses. They had to figure out dinner, homework, and life, pretty much on their own. They were part of a generation that got a whole lot of independence, maybe more than they wanted. So their parenting style isn't random. It's a direct response to their own childhood. And okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because this next part reveals their core motivation. And it's kind of a harsh truth, but stick with me, because it reframes everything you think you know. Their number one goal? It might not be what you think. Think about what they saw growing up. They watched the promise of a stable future just completely evaporate. The idea that a company would take care of you for life, yeah, that vanished. They saw their own parents get laid off after giving decades of loyalty to a company. The whole social contract they were told to believe in, it got ripped to shreds. So the fundamental lesson they learned, the one that's baked into their DNA, is that you just can't rely on systems to protect you. You have to rely on yourself. And this right here is the truth bomb. Their parenting isn't really about creating a perfectly happy, comfortable life for you. It's about making you tough enough to survive when things inevitably go wrong. They aren't preparing you for a stable world, because in their experience, that world just doesn't exist. So, how does this deep-seated belief in instability create all those mixed signals? How do we get that constant whiplash between you're on your own and I will fight a war for you? Let's decode it. This whole stealth fighter thing actually maps pretty closely to a classic psychological model called authoritative parenting. It's seen as super effective, but it can feel really contradictory because it blends two big things: tons of warmth and love, but also super high expectations for independence. Here's how it plays out in 3 simple steps. First, you get daily autonomy. They let you handle the small stuff: friend drama, a bad grade, figuring things out. They're building your resilience. But then, Step 2, a real threat appears. A bully, a serious injustice, a major crisis. This is the trigger. And that leads to Step 3. They swoop in with an intensity that seems to come from nowhere, and they become the powerful protector they wish they had when they were your age. And that's the heart of it all. That sudden, ferocious protection. It's not about controlling you. It's about them healing a wound from their own past by making damn sure you never have to feel that same sense of being completely and totally alone that they once did. So when you put it all together, you get this completely new way of looking at it. What seems like just being moody and inconsistent is actually a very deliberate strategy. It's not a character flaw. It's a survival manual being passed down to you. This is the final reframe. What feels like strictness or skepticism, that's really them calibrating your resilience. And what seems like moodiness and inconsistency, that's just them reading from their survival manual. They're trying to give you the 2 things they never got at the same time: real independence and a safety net you can count on. Kind of changes the picture when you look at it that way, doesn't it? That confusing behavior starts to look a lot less like a mood swing and a lot more like a really fierce, complicated, and deep form of love. And that's what we love to do in these explainers. We dig into the hidden psychology and the history behind the things you see every day. We get you from the what is happening to the, oh, that's why it's happening.
If this gave you a little aha moment, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. We drop new explainers every week to help you connect the dots and make sense of your world. And trust me, you won't want to miss what we break down next.